introduced or shared a lot of different sites with them, and they had me come over to identify them and also add the stories of the people where I had got these from. And so one of the things that they've been doing is like they've been creating their own seed vault and so on. So at this time, it was the 25th year anniversary of the seed vault here they have in Norway, deep in the ground. And there was a gentleman that was there at this time, and he had just returned from there, and he was talking about this. But even at that moment, they already started to experience some difficulties with this. So just in the last few years, last year I listened to a scientist speak about not only about the climate change, but he was talking about that we hear quite often how the polar caps are melting. So what happens is this, is that the rays of the sun come down and they bounce off the polar caps and then go back into the atmosphere. And this helps regulate the jet stream, which carries the winds and everything. And so, because now there's an imbalance and there's a lack of ice, these rays are penetrating the ground. So that it's going into the ground where it didn't before. And so it's changing what's underneath there. And then another thing with it is, the other thing that's happening is that when the seed is frozen, it doesn't acquire genetic memory from year to year. And so what our people do is we plant from year to year, and we can rotate things. We'll plant so many kind in 1 year, and then next year we'll plant some more, and the year after we'll plant more. And so what it is what was explained this morning about how seed is that it's adapted to the length of the day. So as our people came from the south a millennium ago, as they went along, they stayed in one area and what they grew, and then when they moved their villages again, it adapted to the length of the day. So plants and seed is daylight sensitive. So you can go to Mexico and come back the same day and bring back some beautiful, fantastic looking corn, but it will only grow here, and it won't produce a cob. What it'll do is it'll grow maybe even 30 feet in the air. The plant, that's what it'll do. It's its nature. And then if you're lucky, in September, after the solstice changes, what will happen there is the length of the day begins to diminish. So at one point, the length of the day is the same length a day as it is in the south. So that at that moment, it will trigger, so that's when it'll try to set a cob. If we're lucky, it'll make a cob. If not, that's it. But as the seeds in ancient time has taken a millennium to come from Central America and make it all the way where we are. And where we are today, we are at the most northern point of growing corn. You can't grow corn north of us. It has to do with the river, and it has to do with the soil. So it's totally alkaline on the other side of the water from here. And that's why blueberries do very well north of us, because of the soil. But the corn and that is daylight sensitive. And so we have a longer day. But if you go to James Bay or if you go to Calicut, it's daylight right around the clock in the summer. So, but you can't grow there. So this is the most northern point. That's why even as the Haudenosaunee people, because we are agricultural people, this is the farthest north that our culture went because of that. And then after that, what we produce, we trade it with the northern people, which would be the Algonquins and in the Cree. And so that's part of historical things. So it's all related to this and the length of the day. And so that's what you need to keep in mind. And a lot of times we get beautiful seeds and a catalog, and we grow it. We don't have very much success because it's not climatized to where we are. It's grown, some of them are grown in Argentina, some of them are grown in Pakistan and all that. But it looks really nice. There's even beautiful catalog. But that's why I always encourage people, get things that are local. There's a lot of wonderful, beautiful varieties that are grown locally that we can grow and enjoy and learn to appreciate and be all part of that. And so Having said that, we have to really take care, and so in the near future, we're going to work more along with Kipo to develop a really good seed bank for some of the seeds. And so over the years, I've been through several conferences, and then all the guy would get up and all of a sudden would surprise me. Oh, I got this from Steve like 20 years ago. What? It's just what I did, and I shared it because that's part of our way. And as long as it keeps on going, but at the same time it adapts to our regions, and when we share it from one community to the other, what it takes out of the ground makes that seed stronger. And so this is how we have to do it. But there are things that we have to take care of. So in April, I'm going to be going to Tucson to a native seed search. They're going to be having a great big seed keeping workshop there. So when you talk about seeds keeping, it's not only growing it, there's a lot of documentation, the soil, caretaking, if you grow it in isolation, so you try to keep things pure. So all these things are part of the story. And who it came from, and where it came from, and we have to do this. But what's been happening at this place, and I told him, it doesn't acquire genetic memory. So it's the same thing. I heard that they have Walt Disney is frozen. When he comes back, Mickey Mouse will be in a wheelchair. So that's another thing that's true. So because and I heard Bruce Lee was frozen too. So we'll see if that's true or not. But anyways, all these things, this is how it works with the length of the day and the time and so on. And so our seeds have adapted over time. And now climate change is getting very rapid. And certain in a seed working workshop. So this is one of the corn. I selected the seed. So the way I learned is you hold the corn from here, and from here up is what you're going to plant. The rest goes in corn soup or cornbread. There's characters that you want in the seed, so that's what you select for. So there's a lot of things. And then the year that it grew in, and sometimes if you really get more involved, I guess, is you go up there and say, well, this is the one, or you tag it and say, this one was earlier by a week than somebody else seed. And there's all different things. But I think that sometime in the future, we're going to offer some kind of other workshops in the community, and we'll have some people like Green come here who's been growing seeds and has a seed company. So there's all the things you need to learn.